FM News Talk 97.1. On-demand audio.
They asked me this on The View, and look, you only have like a minute to give an answer. Why did you go conservative? Why did you turn conservative from being a really mean, liberal, short-haired, pierced progressive? And, I mean, the basic answer that I have is I grew up. Everybody grows up differently. And when me saying that, you're going to have liberals go, what are you saying that I didn't? Quit putting words into my mouth and just shut up and hear me. You asked a question, I'm trying to answer it. I, myself, grew up, and my worldview got bigger. The more educated I became, the more responsible I became, the more conservative I became. And being a mother was a huge part of that, because I realized that I wasn't just responsible for myself. And even when I was a progressive, I didn't think that people really should be responsible for themselves. I was a mean progressive. I put my politics before everybody. I was that progressive first, and then I was everything else after that. It was like a brand, you know, it was. It was like a brand. And then I realized, you know, as I grew up and as I had my child and I was looking at my child thinking, wow, that, and like I said in our first hour, if you're not raising a child, it really changes your perspective. It really does. It is jarring how much it changes your perspective. The biggest influence on me, and the thing that that changed me the most, was my oldest son. Because I looked at him and I realized I was responsible for so much more than just myself. And everything that I had been for up to that point was absolutely diametrically opposed to his well-being. And that is what kicked it into gear. I had started having like little awakenings before then, because the onslaught of progressive, whatever you want to call it, was intense. Sitting in my women's studies class, and they were trying to tell me I had to write a paper about how Genesis was sexist. And while I'd always been a progressive, I never agreed with liberals on everything, and I still always sought out God. I wanted to go to church myself. I made my mother take me before I could drive. I just wanted to. And so I had already started having like these little jolts. That was what kicked it into gear. 9/11 is what did it, because I was like, no one's ever going to come here to the United States. We don't even need defense. We don't even need a military. Let's just get rid of it. We don't even need military spending. We have so far progressed as humans. You know how 20-year-old progressives think. And then bam, 9/11 happened. I'm watching people die on my television screen, and I have a toddler, or not a toddler, he's this little chubby baby on my floor, my son. And I'm looking at this thinking, okay, that's it. I'm done with that. That was the thing that finally did it. It did it for a lot of people, too. And so that's kind of how it happened. It wasn't one thing that did it. It was a succession of, it was maturity and a number of instances where I had to make decisions and reactions to things that were happening, affecting us as Americans. That's what did it. And I also thought, too, how ridiculously selfish is it for me to sit here and claim that I care about my fellow man, and then shirk off my responsibility to my fellow man to the government. It is so easy to be generous with somebody else's money, is it not? You can spend other people's money all day long. You can, how many of you have done this? You get a lottery ticket, if it's like the big Powerball, and you look at it and you're like, oh man, what if I win this Powerball jackpot? Holy cow. And you already have it spent in your head, do you not? It is already done. That's how government is. That's how it's so easy to be generous with money you don't have. It's easy to spend money you don't have. And I thought about that. I'm like, that doesn't help people. Big government does not aid you in growing spiritually. It doesn't aid you in helping your fellow man. And the reason that we have big government is because individuals have failed to be good stewards of their fellow man. Big government is a symptom of that failure. And big government de-incentivizes individuals helping their fellow man, because from them it takes resources that they themselves would use and directly give it to those who are in need. That is why whenever taxation goes up, whenever government spending goes up, whenever people are burdened by big government, charitable donations, and you can look this up, decrease every time. Whenever the economy is bad, charities suffer, do they not? Whenever retail sales are slow for a particular holiday season, you get the extra call out from the food banks, do you not? You see it on your local news. You see it you're sitting down getting ready for dinner and you see the news reports on it. And I thought about all of that during my transition. We are not growing as individuals, and we're not really caring for our fellow man. We're doing it through an entity that really doesn't have compassion. They get aggravated just renewing your driver's license. You know? It de-incentivizes that individual need. And individuals need to help their fellow man. Voluntarily, when you remove that choice, even God doesn't remove free will. So why does the government think that it can? God does not take your free will. You always have that choice. Government apparently thinks it's better than God and that you are not allowed your free will. There's a reason why free will exists, to give you the opportunity to choose right and to grow. And the double-edged sword in a free society is that sometimes people make the wrong choice. And unfortunately, when you have a lot of people making the wrong choice, the government arches its eyebrow and says, here is an opportunity. It is the devil through the government. Here's the opportunity for me to exploit this. And through this, I can champion causes that I know these people would normally never support. And that's what happens. You know, the best way to fight big government is to take care of each other and make the government obsolete in doing that. Take care of each other. Remove from the government the opportunity to exploit that. That is how you win.